and we're back with you on another episode this evening, and we're having a lot of fun with this. I want to remind you guys, get out there and hit share, like, follow us. We have a YouTube channel that's going now. This is all organic. We're relying on all of you guys to get the word out. Hopefully you like what we're doing. We are open to recommendations, suggestions. If there's certain guests that you would like to see on here, or if you would perhaps want to be a guest, or know somebody that should be a guest, all right, reach out to us. Okay, that's what this is all about. I want to give you a little bit of a heads up of what we're going to be talking about today. So I think it's very, very important in this world that we honor and serve the youth that's coming up. I hear a lot of things said about the motorcycle industry, that it's dying, that in 10, 20 years, most of us graybeards and people like that are going to be dying out, and we're not going to be on bikes anymore. And there's not going to be, the motorcycle world as we know it. And I'm here to disagree with you. I think the motorcycle world is alive and well, and I think it's going to be in very, very good hands. And the reason I'm saying this is my next guest here. Some of you may not know her, okay? You may not know of her family and the people that influence her, but this is a young lady I met a couple of years ago. I've gotten to know her. We featured her first build on Chopper Show on Featured Friday, and it got a lot of response. A lot of you really loved it, and then a lot of you got to meet her out at Sturgis. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce Lilah Eberly.
Hi.
Hey, Lilah, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
I'm wonderful.
Good.
So, Lilah, I have a lot of conversations with people, it seems, about you.
Yeah.
Since Sturgis, and it's rather amazing. But I got to tell you, when we were in Sturgis, and you came out there with your dad and everything else, and we got to introduce you to some people, and you got to show your bike. You were kind of the star of the show, not only for the Chopper Show, Ladies Ride Out, and other things. I mean, wow, you were it.
Yeah. It was a lot, but it was super fun.
It was super fun. And so, I'm still amazed at just your presence and your bearing, how you handle that attention. I mean, you were meeting people from the media, you were meeting legendary bike builders, and you were like you were a fish in water. You did just fine. So how did you just become that kind of person? I mean, were you always been this way?
Definitely not. My confidence has grown a lot through these years with bike building and shows. My first show, I was definitely not like that. I was more like laid back, kind of nervous about the whole thing, and then my confidence just grew as over time as shows got bigger.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean, going through your dad and I are friends, and I've seen some things, from your dad and some of the past stuff. So now the bike that you had at Sturgis, you started building that, if I'm correct, when you were 12?
Yes.
Okay. And then you completed that bike when you were how old?
13.
13. And then I think last year when you showed it at Sturgis, you were 14.
Yes.
Okay. And when's your birthday? When are we turning 15?
May 17th.
May 17th. All right. So, and now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you're working on a street legal bike now, right?
Yes. Very excited about that build.
Okay. So tell me about let's go back a little bit on the previous build. Okay. So now that bike was called Lilah's Ride, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Is that what we call that? Okay. So Lilah's Ride. So tell people, I mean, you've done so much with that bike, okay? And obviously that was a learning experience, but I think the person that probably had a lot to do with that build and helped you and showed you, in my understanding, he made you do the work yourself. A lot of that, make you do that work yourself.
Yeah,
That was your dad, correct?
my dad.
Okay.
Hi there.
Hey, AJ. All right. Well, AJ, listen. I got the absolute utmost respect for you because of what you've been doing with Lilah and the build and everything else. So tell me about the challenges you had in teaching her, and what kind of student has she been?
Um, there hasn't been challenges. We started this not knowing it was going to turn into what it has. So to us, it was just spending time in the garage um, with each other. I'm constantly out here, and she came to me one time wanting something to work on. So I told her I had a chopper frame in the garage, and we just started playing with it. We never expected it to turn into what it was. So to us, it's not so much the challenge of teaching her; it's just us spending time together, learning, because we're both learning. I'm learning something new every day. I just hope to.
So what kind of motor did we have in Lilah's ride?
It's a 80cc Predator engine.
Okay.
Super simple. Great start to a small bike. I think it's got all the practicality. It's super easy to work on, super easy to maintenance, and I just thought it would be a good beginner thing to work on.
Okay. And so, as far as I know, Lilah, you've done some welding. I've seen pictures of you, you know, uh, building the frame, forming that frame, bending the tubing and everything else. I mean, who came up with the idea as far as, building that frame and that style? Was that a collaborative or what?
That's a whole story.
So the frame actually was a little pocket bike, the crotch rocket, and I found it next to a dumpster sometime before she was even old enough to ride it. And we just played with it, cut it up, and turned it into the frame that it was. It sat for like 10 years in the shed before anything was actually done with it. So she kind of had a good base to start off of as far as the frame was there. We just
Okay.
had to fix the mistakes that we had made 10 years prior. So there was lots of re-welding and refabrication done to the bike to make it correct.
Sure. And tell me, so like I'll tell you, I kind of love I love the tank on there. I mean, that's the paintwork on that tank it's as good as anything out there. So who came up with that design?
That was a collaborative between the three of us. We had the peanut tank that was given to us. It was on the bike from the beginnings, kind of. At the last show that we had before the bike was painted, Lilah said that she wanted a 70s paint job, 70s glitter paint job. So the tank itself is all glitter. The only paint on it is the pinstriping. We came up with the color. She said she wanted blue, so we actually took a dark blue, a turquoise, and purple, and mixed them. They're laid on top of a 3/32 silver flake, so the entire tank is clear and glitter. Otherwise,
Yeah, it's a fabulous tank, and I noticed, out at the shows and stuff, people were, first of all, they're admiring Lilah, they're admiring the bike, but then when they started getting lost in the details, and that's when you have a special bike. Um, people will initially they might look at the initial form and yeah, there's a bike, that's cool, but then when all of a sudden they stop and they have to spend some time and they're working out the details in their brain, that's when you've got something special there. So um before we introduce the next person, I want to throw a picture up, and this picture here is there you guys are in the shop. So I just love that. So who we're going to introduce next is the third member of the family here. And so who do we have now?
We have my amazing sister, Piper.
Hi.
Hey, Piper. So just so everybody knows, so Piper's 9 years old and Piper's building a bike now, correct? So Piper, are you excited about this? Are are you really enjoying the process so far?
Yeah, it's been really fun.
All right. So who do you think is going to be the better builder, you or Lilah?
Maybe me.
You know what? Competitive nature and stuff like that, that's what's going to lead to, as long as it's friendly, that's what's going to lead to, challenging each other and really doing amazing builds. Um so did you know all along that this is something you wanted to do as well, or did you see the things that were happening with your dad and your sister and that and say, you know what, I want to try that too?
Well, to begin, I saw Lila and Dad hanging out in the garage one day, and I wanted to hang out with them. And I noticed that they were building Lila's frame for her motorcycle, and I wanted one of my own. So now we're working on mine.
That's awesome. So now, um what colors are you looking like for, the tank and stuff? I mean, I'm sure you've got some ideas there.
Colors I'm kind of looking for is maybe black, green, and purple.
Those will be good. Those are good colors. I mean, they're going to flow really, really well. So I can't wait to see that. So when you get that thing built, we'll feature it on Chopper Show for Featured Friday, and we'll get some things out there. Now, are you going to be joining us in Sturgis as well?
It might be a couple of years, but yes, she'll be out.
Yeah, I figured a couple of years, but she'll be ready before we know it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, and then now, Lilah, are you guys coming back to Sturgis this year?
Of course.
Okay, of course. I love it. So, all right, well, let's throw up some more pictures. I want to talk about some, the next pictures and everything else. So here we are. We got Piper and we got Lilah both. So it looks like you're doing a little frame tube bending, right? So what are you working on there, Lilah?
Oh, that's when you were bending up the exhaust.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Well, the exhaust that we had on it, was this the first or the second one?
That's the second one.
Okay.
That's the stainless.
The first exhaust that we had on the bike, was just this tiny little thing. Not a lot of work was put into it. It was just to put it on there to show that there was something. And then the second one that's in that picture, we took our time with the tube bender and made everything really pretty, and it turned out really good on the bike.
That's awesome. So yeah, I love these pictures and everything else. So, and then let's see what else. We've got some other pictures up to talk about. So, here's you bringing home some more hardware.
Yep.
So, and this looks like it was probably about 2 years ago. Would that be correct in saying?
Yep.
Okay. So AJ, how big of a trophy cabinet do you have there at the house? Or are you in need of one of the fans out there that's a woodworking specialist to build you some, huge thing? Because I think that Piper and Lilah are going to be filling it up.
Well, we got lucky enough to have a really cool dining room that has some pillars and kind of cross braces across them that we're using to actually put the trophies up on right now. But over time, yes, I'll have to come up with something. Luckily, I've got some woodworking in my past history, and we'll come up with something to store them all. But for now, they get put up on a big shelf where everybody can see.
All right, that's awesome. So let me ask you, going back to you, Lilah. I mean, what do the kids at school know about what you're doing, and what do you think their perception of you is?
Well, I don't really rock my leathers a lot to school. I have a lot this winter, so they've gotten some aspect of that. And then they ask, like, why do I have those and stuff like that. And, like, I explained that I build motorcycles, and they kind of freak out. Like, my friends that I've known for a while, who just found out about it, they think that it's crazy how they didn't know before. But they think that it's really cool.
Yeah. Well, and I think that speaks about your modest nature as well, because you're not putting it out there and you're just doing your thing and stuff like that. So, Piper, do any of your classmates know you're getting ready to build a bike?
Well, I told my whole class about it, and they're really excited to see pictures.
I bet they are. So, and now, now you can go tell your friends that we shot this little, this humble little show, and you got to be on here talking about it. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So, uh, so Lilah, I got it. I also got to ask. I mean, so how do the boys? How do they take that? Especially, are they intimidated by it, or are they think it's cool, or just mixed reactions?
There's mixed reactions for sure. People have different kind of they've been around. Some of my friends have been around motorcycles and dirt bikes and all that stuff, so we can like conversate about that. But people or the guys that don't really do that, they feel more intimidated, I've heard. So
Sure. So, here you are. Okay, you're 14. You'll be 15 in May. Okay. Um, where would you like this to, evolve into? What are you looking for in the future with this? Is this something that you think is always going to be a hobby, or is this something that, you think you might choose as some sort of career and being, because, the thing is, our society needs, strong leadership. They need people who are the creators and makers, and people who can show anybody that, anybody can do this. All right. And so I know you're already an inspiration to a lot of people. And but what are your hopes for this?
at the beginning, it was just for fun, but now I want it to turn into something bigger. I've been handed a lot. Well, not really handed. I've earned a lot of big opportunities in these past 2 years, 3 years. And I want it to turn into something bigger, continuous. I want it to turn into a career at some point.
Okay. I mean, and I see that, I definitely see that for you. And I see that as also being a possibility for Piper. I mean, what a cool thing would it be one day if you two had a shop, and, and, the thing is, women riders is the fastest growing segment in the industry. And to have two young ladies that are coming up through the ranks, that women who want their own bike and own custom bike can actually go to a fellow female rider and builder to get things done. And don't get me wrong, there's female builders out there and great builders, but you're the next up, and that's pretty awesome. So let's go to some other pictures here. We'll talk about these. So I love this picture. um so there you are on the bike, and tell me how that thing is to ride.
It's really comfortable, actually. That picture was taken in camp in Sturgis. It was just this tiny little fun thing with.
Mike from Easy Rider that hangs out in the canyon and takes pictures. He
Yeah.
camps.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I
Uh,
know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, he came over and offered to give her like a personal little shoot there in camp, and this is one of the pictures from that.
Oh, that's awesome. All right. Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, if you're riding, Spearfish Canyon and Needles and different places at Sturgis, a lot of these photographers set up, and they'll have a sign out and they shoot all the bikes as you're coming on through, and you could go look those people up, and you can get a picture of you driving, riding your bike, and out there in Sturgis. So yeah, that's really cool. So, all right. So I'm glad I know that. So, so when you hop on that thing in your ride, what's everybody's, what's the general reaction there?
It's normally just around my block, like around the neighborhood and stuff. But newer neighbors that haven't gotten used to me riding around, their reaction is priceless. Of course, I get mixed reactions with it. Like, you always have that person that doesn't agree with it. But mostly everybody in my neighborhood knows that it's me once you hear that sound of the bike, because it doesn't sound like anything else.
That's awesome. I love that. So let's bring up some other pictures. I want to talk about these because this is pretty cool. Um, so here you are in Sturgis, and for those of you that aren't familiar, this is at the Buffalo Chip, and this is at the Crossroads. So we're right behind the big engine bar. That's the area that they host all the shows at. So you spent a little time there this year, didn't you?
Definitely. Even when I wasn't in a show, I still got interviewed.
Yeah, exactly. You were you were definitely the talk of the town, and I know that you got a lot of people found out about you the year before, but it was this year that really took off for you. So, um, but yeah, there you are with your bike, just doing your thing.
Yep.
I want to bring up the next pictures because these are kind of interesting. So now the one on the left is Gina Woods interviewing you on Open Roads Radio.
Yep.
And so Gina came over to me and Gina says, "Hey," she goes, "You think I could do an interview with her? You think she'd do okay?" And I said, "She'll kill it. Go do an interview with her." And that's exactly what she did. And Gina walked away from that and she said, "Oh my gosh, she's amazing. She's absolutely amazing." And I've got to tell you, we was at a function not that long, just a few weeks ago with Gina, and there was a couple lady riders there, and Gina was throwing your name all over the place and telling people they needed to meet her. And so there was a couple very influential women riders that were there, and they were they're eager to meet you. So I think this is phenomenal. And I can tie that in with the next picture. You're actually talking. I don't know if you can see how well you can see it on your screen, but do you recognize who you're talking to in that picture?
Okay, there's that one. I can't really see it. It's
So that's Jill Parham.
Yeah.
So for those of you that don't know, but that's Jill Parham from J&P Cycles, and she now has um, after her husband passed, she ended up selling the company. Obviously still carries their name, but she has the Motorcycle Museum in Aramosa, Iowa. Um, so you're talking to Jill Parham. You're talking to a legend, and so how I can tie this in for you, Jill Parham was also at that function with Gina, and so when she heard your name, she says, "Oh yeah, I met her at Sturgis. She's incredible." So you were impressing people who are some legends and stuff there. But I think let's see, we introduced you to the folks from Dave Nichols from Easy Rider. He's the editor. Remember meeting him?
Yep.
And we introduced you to potentially a couple of different sponsors for you down the road, and you just knocked out of the park with everybody, didn't you?
Yeah.
So AJ, I got to ask you, how does this make you feel as a father? I mean, I know that you set yourself up on this trajectory with your girls and said, you know what, I'm going to do this with the girls. The girls are involved. You're doing it. Did you expect it to go like this?
Not at all whatsoever. It's turned into something way bigger than we ever expected. From the first show, it just hasn't stopped. Everywhere she goes, people are just awestruck almost by who she is and her personality and how well she conversates. And then they come over to me and tell me how good I'm doing. And I don't think it's so much of me thing. She's really pushed to make herself better. She goes out to the shows and she's next to the bike the whole time. She doesn't just set it up and walk away. So she's talking with people, and it's really how much she's grown confidence wise. I could never put a price tag on. So to build a motorcycle together and have fun and have something to show for our hard work is one thing. What it's done for them as people though is I could never. You can't build something like that. You can't just go out to the garage and make her more confident. But that's definitely what's happened.
So tell me about the pride you feel. Because I got to tell you, I'm so proud of Lilah. I mean, I feel intrinsically, connected to her because I just love and adore her. She's just such a dynamic and galvanizing personality. But tell me about how that is for you.
Um, I don't know. She's so much like me that I think we click a little different more than what people see out in public. But she's a great kid, and she's just as sarcastic as I am, and it's like arguing with myself most of the time. So they're kids; they have their moments, but for the most part, we have a really good time together. I wouldn't be taking her to Sturgis at 13 if I didn't think she could handle it or deal with what goes on out there. And we have just had an absolute ball the last 2 years we've been out there. So, super proud of her. I don't know. I never imagined this happening, but I wouldn't change a thing at all for the world.
Sure. So Piper, what have you kind of learned from all this? You know, s- watching your big sister, starting down this path. What have you learned that you think's important?
What I have learned is that every step of the way, it kind of gets easier, but a little bit harder at the same time.
Okay. And then, so, um, you've seen how your sister's doing things and everything else, and how she is. How are you going to be different? Because, we're all different. So how do you think you're going to be different?
From the motorcycle part, ours is probably going to look different because I'm kind of going for a different theme than hers.
Okay. And then how do you think you're going to be different as far as, out there, when you start meeting these people and doing shows? How do you, um, you know, what, how are you going to be perceived?
To be honest, I don't really know.
So that's going to be a work in progress. And I think that's a good plan. I mean, you can't anticipate how that's going to go. You just need to be, raw and real. That's what I tell everybody. So I think you're well on your way. Wouldn't you agree?
She's very
So
spoken and she's super powerful for being a little girl. She is, uh, lots of willpower, lots of push to move forward on her own. She's very independent. Um, we've worked on things before, and she gets to a point that's like, we want some help, and she goes, I will ask for help if I think I need help. So he's
I love that.
as
Huh?
far.
Oh, so
Um,
that's okay. What do I say about that? I love that spirit. That sounds like me. So relatable for me. Um, so Piper, I mean, what advice would you have for people out there? Because, and this advice, it's not advice just for somebody, that's young, your age, or anything like that. This is advice for, everybody, people who have not taken on the challenge of doing something and building something so unique. So any advice for them? Because I'm sure they'd love to hear it.
So technically, if you would want to do this, it would be fun, but also challenging at the same time because you would have to find the right pieces for everything, and also uh, sometimes you don't have the correct tools to do it.
That's true. Yeah, it's hard to do the job without the right tools, and any mechanic builder, you know and from building motorcycles to building a house to fixing the toilet or whatever else. It's all about having the right tools. um Now let me, can we, would you be willing to come back, or maybe share on the Chopper Show page or the Motorcycle Knuckle Busters page? Get on there and share some of your build and the progress, because I think people would love to see that from you.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so we'll do that, and we're going to kind of follow that journey, and maybe we can, make it a two-prong approach, because Lilah's got hers going, you got yours going, and checking back from time to time to see the progress of that would just be absolutely phenomenal. So, did our other friend make it?
We did. He did. Yes.
Okay, so Lilah, there's somebody else that's kind of been very helpful in this process. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, so who do we have here?
This is Bart. He did all of the gold and silver leaf and copper.
So Uncle Bart, how are you, man?
Yeah.
Nothing like being, it's better to be late than never, right?
Yeah, very, yeah.
So Bart, I mean, so you seem to be a man of many talents, it looks like. So I believe you're a musician.
Yeah, I'm a drummer, painter, an okay carpenter, okay fabricator. I kind of try to do everything.
He's a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
Swiss Army knife. So, guys, now that we've got you guys all together, I mean, let's talk about the collaborative as it pertains to Lilah's ride. I mean, what, who all did what? How can you kind of describe that process and how it came along, and Lilah being the driving force and the inspiration for this?
Like I said, the second show that we did with her bike, she took home 3 of the 5 trophies. And at that point, we maybe had something, and I asked her what she wanted to do, and she said she wanted a 70s glitter paint job. So we came home from that with the thought of breaking the bike apart and just kind of going from there. Mainly started with the tank because we knew it was going to be the most hours. So I took care of most of the glitter part of all that. We laid down a silver metallic base, 330-second glitter out over that. And when you do the glitter like that, you have to bury it in clear until it's built up enough to where you can smooth it back out and start the next process. So after the silver was taken care of, that's when we came up with the main color. And it's a really fun color because the purple messes with the painters. Normally, you do candy over silver because ours is glitter. The purple shows, and we wouldn't normally do that. So after the glitter part was done, we handed it off to Bart here and a friend Kendra of ours. Kendra did all the fine line and lettering on the tank. Bart did all the white line and leaf work.
It's a beautiful tank, guys. So what we'll try to do is maybe you guys can send us over some nice close-ups of that tank and everything. Let's go ahead and get that. We can get it featured on the page for Tank Tuesday. So I think I'd love to throw that up there so people can see that. So check out the Facebook page. You'll see that coming up here the next couple of weeks. I know we got a couple of bikes that are up. So Bart, tell me about the things that you found challenging and both rewarding here in working with working with everybody.
Sure. I mean, she's probably one of my easiest clients ever. So she actually listens to ideas, which is awesome. But I mean, like, kind of the whole bike and like doing the finishing work on it was kind of just starts with the what would be cool, and then we just kind of try to figure it out from there. And like, yeah, with colors and with designs and stuff like that, it's kind of, I threw some tape on it and said, do you like this? And she's like, yeah, that looks great. So we just kind of started going with that. But like the glittering and the clearing and all that stuff, it was definitely like an insane amount of hours of sanding, which you took care of most of that. Yeah. And,
Showed up to concerts with glitter on my face.
yeah.
It became a part of life there for about a month.
We still find glitter everywhere.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But
So Bart, going out to Sturgis with everybody, as you're standing back and you're watching everything that's going on with Lilah, what's your thoughts?
Well, I've known her since she was born, so extremely proud of her. But it's I don't know. It's just kind of incredible to see kind of a community rally around her and really kind of hope for the best for her. It's really cool to see that.
Yeah, we were kind of talking about it earlier. Just a lot of pride in what she's doing and everything else, and I think it's kind of standing back, for you to stand back and see what's happening. I mean, there must be a sense of pride in the fact that your involvement with the building of that bike and being a guiding force and a contributor to it. And then also, seeing seeing Lilah, blossom with everything. Piper, what do you think about all those trophies she's been getting?
It kind of takes up most of the space in the house. To start with, before we got of the idea of sticking them up there, we got 2 tables and stuck the ones that she liked on one and stuck the ones that she wanted to keep there on one of the other tables. And the ones that she liked had photos of her family on them. Well, not directly on them, but.
You want to
And
see
then
your
now, since we got our carpet cleaned, we've stuck them up there.
That's awesome. So are you looking forward to picking up a little bit of hardware yourself with the bike you're building?
Yeah.
So, guys, I'm kind of thinking here, before we know it, we're going to be at the 120th for Harley Davidson, and every 5 years, that's a big deal. So, I'm right outside of Milwaukee. I think maybe we need to go have some talks with maybe some of the Harley dealerships I know here. Maybe we get something going for the family. Okay, and maybe that might be a better intro for everybody, to be together for the first time. So I think we'll have, when we're talking sometime, AJ, we'll have to have some conversations about what that could look like. Sound good?
Yes, it does.
Okay. So I'm curious, Lilah, this has been quite a journey in these few years, and a remarkable journey. And I'm really excited. I mean, I'm excited to see where this goes. And, I'm so grateful for the person you are, because you're very humble and you handle things so well. And I got to tell you, when you called me on my birthday to wish me a happy birthday, that just made my heart swell. I mean, that just, to me, just said so much about you and the person you are. And you've done a lot of stuff already in your young life. And what kind of advice would you give to people as well? I mean, we heard Piper's advice, but I'd like to hear what your thoughts are, and what you want people to be able to take from your work, and how you want them to find their inspiration from what you do.
You can't take anything of this for granted, because at any point somebody could make something like it or even better. You have to just keep pushing yourself. Also, you can't be bragging about it, because that will just make you crash. You can't do that.
And you know what, I can say this, and I know Uncle Bart can say it, and your dad AJ can say it, and I know that Lilah's learning it, that you do actually, you practice what you preach. Wouldn't everybody agree with that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I've got another picture here I want to throw up, because I think this kind of I want people to understand that, that there's a lot of dynamics to you, Lilah. So let's get this thing up on screen. Okay, so where are we getting ready to go there, Lilah?
She can definitely be girly.
That's my homecoming picture.
So that's your homecoming picture. Okay. So so who picked out the dress?
I did.
Okay.
Me and my mom and my grandma.
Okay. And so I got it. So did the young boys there, did the young men, do they have a hard time, visualizing the Lilah the bike builder and Lilah the pretty young lady going to homecoming?
I had a hard time with that.
I think I'm sure you do. So yeah, that's it's a little shocking when your little girls start growing up and you're saying, oh, you're a young lady, and you look at the dress and you want to say, oh no, go get some sweatpants on.
Oh yeah, no, she actually did way better with the dress than I was expecting. She looked gorgeous. I couldn't be mad one bit about it. You know, she's growing up, and that's part of life, and that's why I'm kind of trying to show her things before she finds out for herself. So, you know, I was super happy to see her dressed up, to be honest.
Well, I love it because AJ, listen, I think at the end of the day, um, I think Lila's remarkable. Piper's remarkable, and she's on a trajectory to do great things. But at the end of the day, I'm looking at two gentlemen, um, in front of me that, to me, what you two are doing is absolutely remarkable. Uncle Bart, the fact that you've involved yourself with the girls and your guiding force is a testament to the quality person that you are. I don't know how good of a drummer you are. I guess we'll have to check out some videos sometime and stuff, but I'm sure you hold your own. But AJ, I've I think it's important, as important as it is to, highlight Lilah and all the great things she does. I think it's really important to also just recognize the work that you're doing, because, fathers don't know how to be fathers anymore. I don't see men being the way you are. And ladies, I'm telling you, I know you're proud that he's your dad, and I know you feel that pride. But someday you're going to understand how special and unique your father is. And I consider it an absolute honor, AJ, to call you a friend.
Thank you.
To consider you in a circle of people that I have the utmost respect for, and I appreciate you. And I think society needs to know about you, your daughters. They need to know about Uncle Bart. They need to know about what you guys do, because it's not just one of you. It's all four of you collectively are a tremendous inspiration, and should be for the rest of this, the rest of the community, motorcycle community, but the world as a whole. Um, it's that's kind of a wrap for what we got to talk about. But any final words or thoughts from you guys? We'll start, Piper, we're going to start with you.
Keep a lookout because you're gonna build cool bike. You tell them.
Well, first, when we started to build my motorcycle, we started with building it, and then after we got all that done, we built our frame jig. And since we've gotten done with that, we're moving back onto the motorcycle. So, see you soon.
Awesome.
Lots more to come from her soon.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. So Uncle Bart, any thoughts or anything you think people should know or hear?
Oh, I don't really know. I mean, this is. I mean, we did not think that they would kind of go like this. It's pretty incredible. It's amazing to see.
All right, so quick shout out. What's the name of the band?
Black and White Motion Picture. You can find us on any streaming platform.
Okay, wonderful. So hey guys, go check out the band, share it, and stuff like that. Those of you, if you check out the stuff I throw on my YouTube channel, I usually give them some pretty cool videos out at Sturgis and stuff like that. And I love live music. So AJ,
Yes.
any word of advice for young fathers that are out there, men that are trying to raise the next generation that's going to lead this country into hopefully a bright and beautiful future?
The biggest point I could say on that is spend time with your kids. I know not everybody has the tooling or opportunities to do what we've done here, but it doesn't take a custom chopper to spend time with your kids. Bicycle around the neighborhood, work in the garage, show them something.
Share a hobby.
Share a hobby. Teach them what you know so that they can carry it on. I did it with the old timers that I grew up with, and I'm just trying to do the same for my kids. Life isn't made in front of a television screen playing Xbox. There's lots of world to see, and you should take the opportunity to show them.
That's wonderful, and I think that's great sound advice. And Lilah, we started this with you, so we're going to wrap it up with you. So, any words of advice you'd like to pass on to folks out there, and to give them a little insight?
It takes time. You can't push it. If you don't feel like doing this, you can't push yourself into it, or else you won't enjoy it, and it won't turn as big. If people see that you enjoy it, they know that it's going to stay.
Okay. I think that's great advice. Guys, I really appreciate you, coming on and talking to us. For those of you that are watching this, follow us, check out the pages, Motorcycle Knuckle Busters, Chopper Show on Facebook. Follow the YouTube channel we just got going and everything else. And we're going to bring you some more updates, more information. We'll follow Lilah and Piper and what they're doing and the family in general. So thank you guys. I appreciate you.
You.
And we'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Goodbye, all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.